we need to move from eating things to making them. So the most prominent thing that I see as I travel from here to home are malls, shopping malls. This one, we're in the shopping mall. There are so many shopping malls that spring up everywhere, Every street corner now, there is a shopping mall. It's good for the property market. I suppose it's buildings and so on. But those shopping malls don't make things. They bring finished goods to us, and we have to go and scramble to make some money to come and buy those things to consume them. Rather than scrambling to produce them, scrambling to find a market, to sell something, not just in South Africa, export stuff that we make here. We assemble cars here. Why can't we make our own car? Made in South Africa. I know people are going to talk about competitive advantage, but I still think that the fact that we're assembling cars means that there could be a reason to manufacture a car. I don't know if you know, and very few people talk about this, but during my time at Transnet,
yes,
we established a research and development unit. And we said to the research and development unit, you must design a train, a locomotive that is made in South Africa.
Wow.
Not a wagon. We do manufacture wagons, by the way, in Uitenhage and in Germiston and other parts of the country. The wagon is easy. Wagon is a wheelbarrow. But the locomotive with an engine that pulls the wagons of a train. Right? We recruited the best engineering students, the A students, the students that passed their engineering degrees with distinctions. We recruited them to the R&D unit. And we got them. They came and they were excited. And we designed this locomotive.
Wow.
It's called the Trans-Africa locomotive. We designed this locomotive. And then one of the things that we said was, because we need locomotives, we're going to buy 1,000 of them. 1,000 locomotives. And those 1,000 locomotives were bought from the Chinese, the Germans, and the Americans, and the Chinese, the Germans, and the Americans, and the Canadians, Bombardier.
Right.
And I said, or we said at the time, all these 1,000 locomotives will be assembled in South Africa. The people that say they can supply us with locomotives must just bring the parts here. And the parts that they bring must not be things that we can get in South Africa. Like the windscreen of a train. There's no need to import a windscreen or a seat. We make seats for BMW with our cowhide. So the best seats in the luxury sedans is from hide from South Africa. So the seat in a train is not a complicated thing to do. We can do. So we agreed that there would be local content, and we will do that. That's the 1,000 locomotives. Yeah? And then we said, these R&D students must sit with the people that plan the putting together of the trains. And they must go understand the best technology of the different parts of the train from the 4 manufacturers from the whole world. And out of that, we built the Trans-Africa locomotive, made in South Africa. The locomotive was launched actually by President Zuma while I was still at Transnet. It was launched. And it was tested and commissioned. It was ready to operate. Unfortunately, soon thereafter, there was a request that, we have so much load shedding. Can you please go and assist us at Eskom? And I went there. And Mr. Gama continued with the program. And under him, I think 3 or 4 more locomotives were built, made in South Africa. Those locomotives are there. There's nothing wrong with them, except we've stopped the production of those locomotives. In fact, when we bought the 1,000 locomotives, part of the contract said, if we can build our own locomotive, we will scale back what we're going to buy from you.
And for what reason was the project stopped? Was it?
I don't know. I had left. And so the people involved there were the Americans, the Germans, the Canadians, and the Chinese. For the first time, the Chinese we were going to work with the Chinese as a BRICS partner in locomotive procurement. Guess what? The tender for the 1,000 locomotive is considered, even by the Zondo Commission, to have been corrupt. But the corruption is only as far as it relates to the Chinese. There's no allegation that we did any corruption with the Americans, the Germans, or the Canadians. Even that is the case now, that is for which we were arrested. It was the procurement 1064, 1,064 locomotives. That is the case. It's about it's not even, the charges against us is not even corruption. It's not money laundering. It's not racketeering. It's just PFMA violation, fraud. But the fraud, 2 of the fraud charges were dropped. So I don't think they'll be able to prove any fraud because now I know what the elements of fraud are, how it's defined, and what is the case law on fraud. And I don't think it satisfies any of that. PFMA, violations, personally, I don't think there's a case, but now we're going to court to pay these legal fees. But the manufacturing of the locomotives has stopped. Just when you finish here, pick up the phone and ask Transnet, where is the Trans-African locomotive? One day I was at the airport after I had left Transnet. I think I was still at Eskom or just after I had left Eskom, but I was just passing through the airport. And a young engineer from Transnet comes to me and he says, Mr. Molefe, guess what I have in my bag? I said, what? And he opened the bag, big bag, and it was a model of the Trans-Africa locomotive. And she says, I'm catching a plane. I'm flying to Kenya and Tanzania. I'm going to show them these locomotives and I'm going to try and get orders so we can build it for them. I was so excited. I became very, very emotional. But I think soon thereafter, nothing came of it.